Hey, Business 20 students, this is Mr.D, and this is week 3 of our Fall 2022 course here at Norco College. And as I mentioned to you, I have a lot of things that I've made changes to on this class, so I wanted to make sure that you knew about those things, and so I'm doing another video announcement. I typically do them every week, just kind of going over the assignments, but I wanted to let you know that I did make a few changes. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. But first off, of course, last week we covered chapters 6 and 7. We looked at percents, and then we looked at trade and cash discounts. So hopefully you were able to work through some of the work on that and be able to turn in the check-in assignment. That's the most important piece. And then, of course, do the quiz, etc. I dropped your exam, so hopefully that gave you a little more time to focus on your check-in assignment and get that done, as well as your case study. So just wanted to remind you this morning, if you happen to be watching this video first thing in the morning, at 9 a.m. we're going to be doing a Zoom session, and I will be recording that as well, but I'm going to be covering chapters 8 and 9 on markups and markdowns, as well as perishables, and not to mention the payroll, different ways in which we are paid, as well as one of the most important things I want to cover, and that is the percent formula for figuring out payroll taxes. So those are some of the topics. Of course, everything has been put into the context of Sienna and her business. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. But Sienna, of course, owns Sienna's Health and Fitness, and everything is we're looking at everything through her eyes as we kind of consider each of the various topics. And so I'll be explaining that to you a little bit more in this video. But the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and show you our home screen. So here it is. And some of the changes I've made is I've changed how the homework and all that was looking. We don't really have homework in this class. It's more of just encouraging you to study. And so I'm going to scroll down here to Module 2, Week 3. And what I did was I took all of those various, PowerPoints and YouTube videos and all those things that were just lists here under the study portion. And I created a study page for each week's chapters. So in this case, I made a study page for chapter 8 and chapter 9. And so if you select that, some of it's similar to what the homework was, but I'm showing you exactly what sections to review. As far as if you get your textbook, you go through these sections, you're going to learn the content very simply. Also, I gave you the PowerPoint slides to specifically look at. So you can review the textbook, and then if you want to try it out a little bit, go through the PowerPoints and look at the specific slides just to kind of get an idea of what some of the problems look like. This week, Chapter 8, we're covering all of Chapter 8, so it is by far the most content that we'll be looking at in one chapter, but it's all very valuable. By the way, in my video for tomorrow morning, or this morning, Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., I'm going to be going over Chapter 8. I'll be going over each of these sections and showing you how to work it out. I'll be placing a video here for each of the different ways in which you're to work out these problems. But basically, what the markup and the markdowns are basically when you buy something from a wholesaler and maybe you get a trade discount or a cash discount. Of course, you're getting it at a cheaper price. Well, now you want to mark it up from your cost. You want to mark up what it is that you're doing. So I'll explain that a little bit more in a minute, but that's really essentially what a markup is. And then a markdown, maybe you have a bunch of inventory that isn't moving, or maybe you want to have a sale, so you want to mark it down so that way you can draw in customers, or you can kind of liquidate some of the items that are in your inventory. And so then you would want to mark it down. And so we show you how to calculate problems based on marking it up and marking down. Again, down the bottom here, I put the PowerPoint, so you can reference the slides to look at up here. You can look at the PowerPoints there. I listed the YouTube videos here, and this is only if you kind of feel like, hey, I'm not getting this, I need a little bit of help. Please go through the YouTube videos, and then that's pretty much it for Chapter 8. And if you go over to Chapter 9, I kind of do a little bit similar, but I also added the tables there, I believe. Actually, I added them to the formula sheet. Anyway, kind of the same thing. However, in Chapter 9, you're not working through every section. You're starting at 9.2 and ending at 9.7. But again, there's PowerPoints. There's a few videos here on the topic of figuring out payroll, especially the topic of the what's called the percent formula of payroll. And so I'll be doing a video on that as well. In fact, I already have a video on that, but I'll be going over it again. And I have that video, by the way, right here. Watch Professor Doucette work through the percent method of payroll. So I've already done it. It's where you're going to be using a couple of different tables. Anyway, those are kind of the goal of these study pages is really just for you to study. So I tell you exactly where to go. I tell you exactly what to study. And your job, of course, is to study. And so you open up your textbook, you look at these sections, you work through a few of the problems, you kind of grasp the concepts. You need a little bit more help, you can look at the PowerPoints. If you need a little more help, you can look at the YouTube videos, you can look at the videos I've done. And the whole goal of this class, of course, is for you to study. It's an online class, so you should be spending anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a week working on your assignments. And this is really something you can do quite quickly. And so that's the study pages, but that's what I've changed in the modules. And then again, if you come down here to week number 3, module 2, week 3, I went ahead and added a tips for solving word problems. I know some of you struggle with, well, how do I do this word problem? Well, those are some just generic tips for it. And then I will be going over some of that. And then also there's a formula sheet right here. And as you can probably see, we're getting more and more formulas as we go. And so I'm just kind of writing them down all here for you. Maybe you don't need to use them or you choose not to. Not everybody does. But I'm kind of putting them there so that you have access to the formulas as you need them. So I will recommend that you maybe print out the formula sheet and you work through the problems. I noticed in chapter 8, they don't use the formulas that I usually use. So you don't have to use my formulas. You can follow the one that the book suggests, or you can watch my video and I will be using the formulas that I use. They're very much the same. They just lay it out a little differently, I noticed today when I was going through it. So that's kind of the idea of the module, the changes in the study section. And then, of course, you have your check-in assignment right here for this week, and that's going to be doing markdowns, markups, payrolls, etc. And the other change I made is I'm going to make your due date for the check-in assignment on Thursday. What I mean by the due date on Thursday is if you get it done by Thursday, I will grade it by Friday night, latest Saturday morning. That way you have a chance to see what you did wrong. You can make any corrections before you take your quiz, or in later weeks take your exam. So I'm trying to help you out. I'm giving you a little more time, and then I'm giving you the opportunity to be able to go back and make corrections. And I will send you the actual answers all worked out so you can see how it's worked out. But at least give it your best shot. Don't skip any questions. Do your best on each one. And then I will send you, I'll kind of note where you went wrong, and then I'll send you the right answer so that way you can work through it. Same thing with your quizzes. Some of the quizzes have multiple choice questions, and some of the quizzes have multiple choice and they have fill-in questions. So I recommend that if you take a quiz, pretty much, I'm checking every day. So if I see you took a quiz, I'll usually respond within 24 hours of you taking it, roughly. So if you do it and I need to make some corrections, I will make those corrections so that way you have time to retake it. You can take it up to 3 times. The only negative there is if the first time you took it was on Sunday night, I'm not going to have time to grade it or to review it, so you'll just get whatever score you got. So that's pretty much it. There is a Zoom session on Tuesday that you can just click that link to get there if you've not made it. I will also post the video when it's done right there. But that's this week coming up as far as what work you're going to do. And one thing I want to stress that's very important is every week you start by reading the Read Me First. And the Read Me First kind of explains the concepts and puts it through the eyes of Sienna, and that's the whole purpose. So if you notice here on this one, it says Sienna has received some items ordered from her suppliers, and now she needs to determine how much she wants or needs to mark them up to make a profit. She also has some slow-moving items she wants to discount and mark down so she can finally get them sold. And finally, she's overbought some perishable items that actually went bad on her, and so she has to figure out, how can I still recoup the money that I spent on these perishable items that have been now spoiled, and how can I do that? So we're going to be covering those problems in the Zoom session, and I'll be listing those videos under the study section. But this is something I just want you to read and review because it tells you how retailers use markups and markdowns, as well as how they use payroll and why that's important when it comes to your deductions and how much you're going to get in your paycheck and how much federal income tax you're going to pay, etc. So please read the README first before you get into anything else. And I think that is it. So have a great week, everybody, and please don't hesitate to get a hold of me. I'm making these changes because I was given some recommendations by some other faculty that looked into my class, and I'm trying to accommodate their recommendations as well as make things as simple as I can for you all. And but the main piece here is that you do need to review those study sections. You do need to be looking in the book and learning how to work out some of these problems. You do need to be watching my videos. You do need to complete the check-in assignments, and you do need to complete, of course, the quiz and the case study. So we do start a new case study this week. It's a new one, and it's based off of, I believe it's based off of, let's see, I didn't have that on here, but it's actually, because it's down here, but it's going to be called The Bride, the Groom, and the Taxman. Oh, that was it. It's there. I just missed it. It's called The Bride, the Groom, and the Taxman, and it's really going to be about this percentage method of solving payroll deductions and all that. And so if you don't do that and you skip that in Chapter 9, you're not going to be able to understand how to solve that case study, all right? So make sure you do that. But that's it. Everybody have a great week. And again, if you need anything, you have questions, you have concerns, please don't hesitate to email me or text me, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can.